Hello and welcome to Moxie Journal. My name is Calix. I am so glad you are here with me today. As you may have seen from the title of my video, I am working through some of my issues with having accidentally bought a tarot deck that has Starseed stuff. If you don't know about Starseed, it's well, I'll leave the resources that have informed my opinion on it in the description. And if Starseed language and ethics and stuff speaks to you, I'm not here, as I say, to yuck on your yum. If it's yummy and soul aligned and happiness making for you, then I want you to, just go on with your bad self and enjoy it and just ignore my opinion, right? This is just what aligns or doesn't align with me and how I'm working through having bought something that that may or may not actually end up aligning with me. So I'm going to work through that and kind of go on camera here and talk about my process of welcoming in a deck and figuring out its personality and learning about it. And then we'll see where we end up. So this deck, I went about it in a slightly different way. I saw this deck featured in the spotlight on Simon over at the Hermit's Cave, where he does a spotlight about releases in the UK with Cheryl from the Oneness Emporium. Oh, I hope I've got the shop name right. I think that's what it is, Cheryl at the Oneness Emporium. And this is one of the mini decks that they went through. They go through quite a few, and this one was featured, and they showed the cards, and they may have read some from the guidebook that said Starseed and I just missed it. I'm totally not blaming them. I'm so grateful. I think it's so exciting to get to watch videos and see people present things that I wouldn't have necessarily known about. I just got really excited when I saw some of the cards, and it's as you might imagine, with a name like Galactic Star, it's sort of a science fiction-y type of artwork and write-up, and so I was just really excited about it, and I missed the word Starseed. So it turns out that the Starseed stuff, as I understand it, is we'll look. So here it is. It's the Galactic Star Tarot, and it's by Alexandra Henley and Pamela Chen. And I don't know anything about these authors, and I mean, other than what is here on the back. I did hear in that spotlight video that Pamela Chen has done other things, other decks, and is kind of known for some out there really interesting takes. So, cool. And typically, actually, what I do when I get a deck is I immediately open the book and I read the book almost cover to cover, and then I get into the cards. But I didn't do that with this deck because I'm working, my word of the year this year is on practice. And I have really read and looked at and studied tarot for a lot of time, but I've only actually practiced, as in doing readings, for like 6 months, and I've only been making videos about it and joined the TarotTube community for about a month. Well, I started watching TarotTube. I discovered TarotTube even existed in November, and here it is in March, and now I'm making videos and joining the conversation. So that's kind of how I come to this, and why my process was just a little bit different than it had been, because I'm working on having a more embodied, just less having to do it the right way, perfectionist way of looking at things. I'm a very academic person. I love books. I love to read and to get all the little notes and things right. So I did it differently with this one. I saw it on Simon's channel. I waited. It wasn't even released in the US until March 5th, and I immediately ordered it, and I got it, and then I brought it in. I started looking at the cards. I went through them. They're beautiful. They have this like really fun, sort of swirly reversible backing, and these are, I love purple. It's my very favorite color. So I sat and I looked at all of these cards, and I kind of saw these crazy kind of space creatures, and I'm a sci-fi girl. I have been reading science fiction since I was very small. My mother never understood it, but my father bought me Kurt Vonnegut and Philip K. Dick and you know, Robert Heinlein. And I mean, honestly, I used to tease that Robert Heinlein informed my values and principles every bit as much as my parents did. And I think that would, I think that just sort of sums it up. So sci-fi decks, especially one that looked this beautiful, right up my alley. And then I open up, and then after I do all that and I look at the cards and I bond it, I'm like, oh, I love this deck. It's so fantastic. Let me now read about it. So I open up the book and I get to it. And, you know, stepping through the cosmic portal, and that's kind of fun. And then all of a sudden I like clock this word starseed. Wait a minute, starseed. And then it says the images on these cards and the words in this book have been channeled from the star beings of love and heightened consciousness. And I was like, oh, what have I done? Again, channeling is one of those things that's just, it's a little bit on the edge. It's very much outside of my comfort zone. It's a little bit on the edge of what I can tolerate. I've been adjacent to mediums and psychics for decades, people that I have a lot of respect for, but whether I'm really into it or how, I'm just not really sure there. I'm a little agnostic there on the medium and channeling. So I was like, okay, keep an open mind, Calyx, see how this is. And if this is wrong, I mean, it's not like it was an indie deck that it, you know, I backed a year ago and waited for months and months to get in. And I mean, this is really a sort of low-key purchase, and I can just pass it on if it really doesn't work for me. Although, I mean, you see, I just immediately started marking up my book. So if I will never be able to sell anything that I have. I'll just have to give it to somebody. But I thought, okay, just keep an open mind. Here we go. So their definition here of starseeds. Starseeds are souls who currently incarnated on Earth as humans, but who originally became individual conscious beings in other star systems. In other words, starseeds are interstellar transplants carrying out an incarnation life cycle on Earth. Okay. What I've known about starseeds before has to do with people who believe that they are the incarnation of a higher level being and they're above earthers, and that, you know, that's where the like Nazis in space kind of label comes from. So in this version, right here, they say that there is no hierarchy depending on where we originate, so whether you're a starseed or an earther. And it talks about why starseeds might be doing this. It says this happens so that their soul can broaden their experiences and further develop their consciousness by anchoring into unique places with different energetic signatures across space and time. It's similar to how we travel around the Earth to expand our horizons. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to so the way I do when I watch some sci-fi movies or read some sci-fi books is, you know, I just kind of put on that willingness to suspend disbelief and just enter into the story. And when I look at it that way, it's a little bit easier. And so far, I haven't run into anything that makes me feel super squicky, right? So, and then they say here, our wish is that by working through the energies of the galaxy and Galactic Tarot, you will feel more empowered in your decision-making and in manifesting your most magical star-aligned life. Well, I think that's pretty great. And actually, I loved this little part in the guide over here. It says, if you are reading this book right now, it's probably safe to assume that you are incarnated as a human being. And that just totally cracked me up. So I thought, okay, I don't like the word starseed. I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm going to try and lean into the sort of openness and their wish that... and there's a little bit over here, this language is a little problematic about ascension and all of that. But then I also think about, well, if we talk about the major and minor arcana, right, it's a progression which can be seen as an ascension. And honestly, if we look at the roots of all of it, right, I have some pretty big issues with the core of the Rider-Waite-Smith in terms of the Theosophical Society and the Golden Dawn and the Hermetic, and gosh, even if you look back at like the Knights Templar and stuff, I definitely have problems with those guys. So the roots of something don't necessarily mean that the expression of it is going to be a problem. So, okay, so that's all my background waffling about Can I even stand that I've already bonded with this deck? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to step through my little welcome aboard journal and show you what my welcoming in spread was and what the messages were. And then I'll just flip through the cards one by one. And I'll try and put timestamps in my description. So if you want to skip to seeing just the walkthrough, you can do that. I don't actually know how to do that, but I think I can Google it and find out. Just to let you know what my process is when I get a deck is that I do, as I said, I usually read the guidebook first and then I look at the cards, but this time I just looked at the cards and I walk through and I look at the images and I just think about what they are, and then I do a welcome aboard, because I'm from the Navy, or a welcome in spread, and I wash my hands with this special soap from Nice that I love, and I light a special candle. This one is a new one. It's a beeswax candle called Enlighten, and I put a little special oil. This one I put was frankincense on the back of my hands, and I do a little grounding and centering. There is a little three-word mantra I have, be here now, but I cross my hands over my heart and I say, be in this body. I place my hands down and I say, be in this body, here in this place, now in this moment. So be here now. And then I pick up my cards again and I shuffle them. And then I do a spread, and I do this, and I've modified it a little bit. Oh, that is my alarm over there going off on my phone. It's going to wiggle off the table. What is that about? Okay, I thought it was on Do Not Disturb. I got this spread. This is actually a spread from, it's not in camera, Seasons of the Witch. It's the welcome in spread that they had at the beginning of each of those books, or at least the ones that I have. I don't know if every single one of them is the same. And it's got 7 questions. And the third question, what is your weakness? So it says, what personality do you have? What is your strength? What is your weakness? How will you help me grow? When should I call on you for guidance? What is the best way to work with you? And what will our relationship be like? That third question about what is your weakness, that weakness word was a little problematic to me. And so I looked at some other spreads and I kind of sat with it. And I finally decided that a more serving question for me when I'm interviewing a deck, when I'm getting to know it, is what are your limits, or what are you not interested in working on? So as a deck, what is just not going to be? And maybe that's what they meant by weakness to begin with, but this little language sort of ended up working for me. And I just wrote those on the back of a card that was sent to me with my Sacred Bee Tarot. I just loved that card, but the back was blank. So I used some washi and I put it in the back of my journal so that when I open to a spread, I can still see the questions. Right now I have them all written in. Oh, look, we have our little mantra for today. So let me get this in frame. My book has gotten a little chunky because I glue all stuff in, so I have to have a little weight. So today I have, and I thought this was really perfect, I keep in mind that every experience I have is perfect for my growth. And I thought, as I'm doing this spread with this deck, that seems like a really good mantra for today. So what I do is I write up at the top. If you haven't seen my Welcome In journal, I know I had a couple of people ask me about it. So I write up at the top, I write the name of the deck and who it's by. I print out, this is just from my computer. This is just on standard printer paper. It's nothing fancy. I just download an image, usually, from like the Amazon description or the shop description. And then I do my spread. I ask my questions and I do my spread, and I take those cards, I put them on the platen on my printer, and I Xerox them, I copy them. My friend pointed out to me that I used the word Xerox to mean copy. And so that's how you can tell, A, I'm my age, and B, I'm from the South, because that is a really typical American Southern thing. We use the brand name for a process. So like where I'm from, if your friends getting up and going, you'll say, hey, could you get me a Coke? They're like, yeah, sure, what kind? You'll be like, I want a Sprite. And, you know, so we say Xerox, we say Kleenex, we say Coke, and so we mean the generic thing. Anyway, so I'll try to remember to say copy. So I use my copier, and I copy these cards, and I try to remember to put a picture of the back in there, because sometimes the backs are really important to me. I write the date, and then maybe I put a little note about who I saw, and I actually should have written that I saw this on Simon's channel. I'm trying to remember to get better about that. And sort of what my initial impression might be, and then I put in the questions and then the answers. So in this one, I went through and it said, what personality do you have? And I got the moon card. So I'll show you the actual card in just a minute, but I don't want to get them out of order. So surprisingly, what I discovered as I was going through this is it was very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith. If you didn't want to use the little guidebook, you could totally use Rider-Waite-Smith patterning to understand. I mean, yes, the creatures they're humanoid often as opposed to human, but you would get it. So I loved that there were, you know, there's the moon. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little crayfish right there. You've got the light. Anyway, so when I asked what personality do you have, my deck said to shine light that you will have clarity for making aligned decisions for yourself. Trust your intuition. Don't second guess yourself. And then for each one of the entries in the book, you have a write-up that's just the upright meaning. Then you have a retrograde meaning, which is like a reversal. Then you have this channeled star guide's message, and then you have a mantra. And so I just wrote, you know, the little notes here, and then I put in the mantra because I thought that was really nice. And the mantra for this one is, I honor the emotions that I feel, but I also know that they shift and change. I'm safe in the flow of my feelings. Well, that's a great mantra. I'm safe in the flow of my feelings, especially for the moon card, right? So I thought that was really great. And here I have this tool whose whole personality is to shine light so that I will have clarity for making aligned decisions for myself. And it's telling me to trust my intuition, don't second guess myself. So, okay. I'm buying in a little bit. The next question, what is your strength? And it said the Knight of Swords. Now, I'm still working on the knights. They often really bug me. But this knight, look at how fun this is. This is I think the swords are supposed to be from Sirius or whatever, is the Syrians. Anyway, all the suits are all peopled by characters from other star systems. But look at this knight. He's on this griffin-like blue beast flying through there. And it says, this is the fastest flying knight in the galaxy. And that totally cracked me up. I'm like, I can remember that, right? That's that Knight of Swords energy. And it's time to make a quick decision so that you can fly to your success. And then the mantra for this is, I am a child of the cosmos, supported by the stars and always moving forward. So now I'm thinking, okay, this is lining up with the way that I read cards. This is making some sense. This is speaking to me. I'm not getting any weirdo Nazi eugenic vibes at all. So yay. The third question, what are your limits or what are you not interested in? And I got the Empress. And I don't love this Empress card. She's, you know, just, even though she's this star being with this little alien child at the, you know, at her feet, she's got this pregnant belly. And I'm a mother. I have mentioned, I have a lot of children. I love being a mother. It's wonderful. And I think it's fine. I mean, she's the mother in the deck. I just think that we could, I don't know. I just, I like it when mothering and nurturing and bringing about everything is not just related to pregnancy, but it's, you know, it's a powerful metaphor, and that's maybe a super modern take to kind of avoid the pregnancy part. I loved being pregnant. I loved having my children. I did not get all of my children through my pregnancies. So, you know, again, that's just my little personal place. But another thing that's kind of interesting is this is the second deck in a row, like the deck that I welcomed just before this. The limit on it was also the Empress. So I think that's very interesting and reflective of where I am. My children are grown and they're off living their best lives and they're fantastic. In fact, half of them live on the other side of the country. I actually end up with 3 kids in Portland, Oregon, which is 2,500 miles away from where I live right now. And so I mother from afar these days. And so for me, that's kind of interesting reflection on maybe where I am with that sort of mothering energy. Although I do like the creativity aspect. Anyway, enough about that. I just thought it was kind of a nice thing to pay attention to. And then how will you help me grow? And this was the 6 of Wands, you know, victory and being recognized for an achievement, feeling fulfilled, successful, confident. And I mean, you know, this one's not, again, I'll show you the cards a little bit more close up, but you know, they're just wands and you can see the beings up there recognizing your achievement. The next question, when should I call on you for guidance, was the Ace of Wands, which is a burst of inspiration, fleeting thoughts of a creative project or out of this world ideas. So again, that Rider-Waite imagery, it's really resonant. It's making sense to me. I'm buying in. I did have a little bit of a think on this one about what is the best way to work with you. And the answer here was the 9 of Swords. And I mean, look at this image. This is, I mean, for all that it's kind of in a little sci-fi vein with that little creature down at her side, or their side. They're the swords sitting up in bed, the insomnia. So that's an interesting energy to think about what's the best way to work. But the right up in the guide talks about, it says when you are massively ascending, and I had to kind of get over that. But the 9, right, it's that climax card in the progress. So when you are massively ascending and your reality is changing, it's normal to have doubts about the future. So doubts, anxiety, and the mantra here was, I am never alone. I am deeply loved and supported by my star guides and the universe. And I thought, well, you know, what I brought to this deck, what I brought in as a way to work with this deck were my doubts, my anxiety about the Starseed stuff. So what I hear here is that it's okay. It's okay to come and be skeptical, to show up and bring all of that here, that anxiety, that worry, that whatever, and that the answer here is that I'm not alone, I'm supported, and it's okay. Thought, all right, okay. That's where I got. And the final question in my welcome aboard spread was, what will our relationship be like? And this I thought was very interesting because the answer was the Queen of Cups. So she's this, you know, this being, and I forget which did I write down. Oh, Pleiadian, from the Pleiades. And this is the compassionate Queen of Cups, takes care of the Pleiadian starship crew and actively keeps the Earth safe, connected to leading with your heart, being able to hold space for others in the collective, and that intuition and creative flow. I love that. And I'm just going to say that the Queen of Cups is one of my 2 significator cards that I really like and agree with and, you know, like resonate with the most. So I thought, okay, I'm seeing myself reflected in this deck in a really fun, interesting, creative way. So I'm going to get over myself. So I wrote, you know, my final thoughts as I finished the intake here were that this is a sweetly, it's a weirdo alien deck, it just is, but that it's sweet. And I said, welcome in. I did say, but leave the reactivating DNA light packets on the starship, please, because that was one of the things that was mentioned in the guidebook. And I was just like, yeah, no, I don't want any light packets to reactivate my Starseed DNA, latent DNA. That's a little too weird for me. So I thought we would, so that's my welcome aboard. So welcome in, Galactic Star Tarot. Thank you for being here. But let's go through and look at the cards now. I'll show them. Let me see if I can, maybe I need to bring this down a little bit more so we can see a little more detail. Does that help? And I do reorder my deck. So just to let you know, I start in the north, I start with earth, because that's my magical practice. So, and really the biggest deviation that I found in this deck is that they say discs instead of pentacles or coins or anything. And the write-up says that's because interstellar beings don't value coins in the same way, so that there are these discs of alien gems, precious metal materials that are used for various technologies. So, okay, again, if I just immerse myself in the story of these alien beings, then I'm totally fine. And I can do that. I really like forest and fae decks that put myself in the forest with the animals or the landscape. So this is just a variation on that. So here's the Ace of Discs. And then the Two of Discs. The Three of Discs. I actually really like this one, right? It kind of plays into here. We've got the teamwork. I guess they're collaborating with star beings, and we've got the pyramids in the background because of all the sort of long-standing myths and legends about the pyramids being so advanced and must be connected to some star beings. So I have to say The Fifth Element is one of my favorite movies ever, and I love this. And for me, this card is super fun too, because I've just signed up to go on an art trip to Egypt next February. So I'm going to be able to go on the Nile for like 6 days on a ship with other artists, and we're going to be doing art along the Nile. I'm going to go to the pyramids. Anyway, so very exciting card for me. Four of Discs, like that. Five of Discs, and I mean right here, look at the RWS resonance right there, not a problem. The Six of Discs, and I like this kind of exchange here. I mean, it can be generosity, but there's also this like light kind of connecting back and forth. I just think these images are really pretty too. The Seven of Discs, look at all those kind of hanging globes and such. The Eight of Discs, look at the little face on this guy over here. I love it. I love it. The Nine of Discs, so pretty. I love this disc up here. Little bird. The 10, so we have this, all these generations, this home, this legacy, and then we get into the court cards. And it does kind of talk about in the guidebook about the court cards being the emissaries from a particular humanoid race. And I'll let you, if you're interested in the deck, I'll let you read all about which ones they're from. But the page is this emissary, it's the messenger, and then the knight is going forth and exploring, and I think this is a beautiful card. I normally don't like, as I said, the knights. It's not that I don't like them, I just have problems with them, but I like the knights in this deck a lot. And of the knights, the one that I can always actually rely on is the Knight of Pentacles. So in this case, the Knight of Discs. The Queen of Discs, yeah, with her extra eye, that kind of bothers me, but that's just a personal thing. I mean, I think this card is really, really interesting. And then the King, I like this creature down here. And then we've got the Ace of Swords. The Two of Swords, I love the VR as the blindfold, right? So you've got this balance here. I love the message on the screen in the back. I think this is really interesting. I like the stardust kind of at their feet. And the Three of Swords. I mean, it's definitely a galactic take, I guess, on the iconic Three of Swords, but we have these three kind of glowing saber type swords with this interesting heart that's got, I don't know, like a green aorta or something, and it's shattering the outside part. I don't know. I think this is just fascinating. The Four of Swords, this rest with the swords. And of course, we've got the sci-fi of the like time capsule casket, for hyper sleep or whatever. So, and then the sword beside. So as you can see, again, a lot of Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. There's the Five of Swords. I'll try and go a little faster. The Six of Swords. We've got the ship. We've got the boat. I think it's interesting. It is interesting to me about which direction this one's going. The Seven of Swords. This deck, I mean, it's funny. It's kind of, I think it's sweet and a little, it's definitely odd, but I love this cow getting, elevated here. The Eight of Swords. Again, I don't think anybody who has any grounding in Rider-Waite-Smith will have issue with these. There's the Nine of Swords. We already talked about this, and I do love the poster here. The truth is out there. Right. Ten of Swords. I love the look on her face, right? In this, the Red Cross Starship Enterprise coming, and these swords, and this. I can get it to focus on her face. Anyway, I get the Ten of Swords card a lot in my reading, so I was happy. I was actually surprised it didn't come up in my welcome in. So I thought this one was the fact that I liked this card made me want the deck more. All right, here's the Page of Swords. The Knight of Swords again. I showed you that in my welcome aboard journal, but I love this blue knight charging off, the fastest knight in all the galaxy. The Queen of Swords. Very sharp. The King of Swords. Look at this little guy. I love this deck, so I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I didn't know about the Starseed language so that I didn't get, so that I had a chance to work through my issues with it on this particular deck. I'm not giving up my idea, my resistance to the whole idea and the community that really resonates on the very far end of that, but this part I can do. This Ace of Wands, besides I want this wand, I like this little feline kind of hand. We'll see that that's the felines are the court people in this one. So there's the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands. I like that journey one. I like that's, JFK, and then it's like to take a starship. The Four of Wands. Looks like a fun celebration. The Five of Wands. It's like laser tag in space. The Six of Wands, that's another one we saw. I do like the pretty colors. Seven of Wands. The Eight, this imagery that's streaking through the sky, but I love their different little gemstone ends. The Nine of Wands. I love this purple skin tone. That would suit me. I could have purple skin. The Ten of Wands. And again, I don't know if she's coming bearing the wands down or taking them away. Here's the Page of Wands. Again, with the pyramids, little feline kind of people. The Knight of Wands, streaking on this fiery dragon type of, and I do like the glowing eyes of the Sphinx there. I think all of that is fun. The Queen of Wands. I mean, I think it would be really super if this was real. Like, I could totally be in this universe. Like, I want a little Siamese cat with green glowing eyes and bat wings. Like, how fun is that? The King of Wands with his dragon and his lion scepter. And final suit here, the Ace of Cups. The Two of Cups. And we see some of these characters repeating. I think this Three of Cups is lovely. It looks like it's set in Greece, maybe. I just love the sisterhood moment there. The Four of Cups. I love that she's blowing a bubble. Five of Cups. The Six of Cups. Nostalgia going on there. That little playing dress up with the home life with the tree house. I think that's a lot of fun. The Seven of Cups. Eight of Cups, definitely with the road there. I like the little mention of Roswell. The Nine of Cups. Oh, I love this costume. I think this is great. I love this. Looks like Mount Fuji and the cherry blossoms and the... I like the range of this deck. You know, it's a lot of different type of earth people shown. The Ten of Cups with the rainbow. The Page of Cups on a little segue type of thing. I love, can you see the little, get it, little fishes right there? I think they're really cute. Here's the Knight of Cups with his rose and, I don't know, Prince Charming. He's the one I usually want to punch the most, so he's okay. He has, his punchability is less than in other decks. So the Queen of Cups, as I said, love her. The King of Cups looks very even-tempered, very calm, very zen there. And then we get into the major arcana. So here we have our Fool and the Cliff and his, you know, his little stick with his minimal baggage. The Magician. I hope this is focusing. The High Priestess. She's got her pomegranate and her, I do think it's interesting. You see her book of knowledge here is a, you know, a tablet of sorts. We've got the columns. We've already talked about the Empress. We've got the Emperor. So I don't love this Emperor. He reminds me of a character from a TV show. I won't mention it because I don't want to get that stuck in anybody else's head in case that's a negative. But I mean, you know, he goes along, I guess, with that Empress. This is one of my favorite cards. This is one of the reasons I bought it. When I saw this on Simon's, I'm like, I'm all about it. Sign me up. I want that wonderful green creature Hierophant. So, and we've got the two figures in the background. We've got the keys. Like, I just, as I said, Howlite Shore really changed my language around the Hierophant and gave me words for it. But she said that the Hierophant, when you look at that in a deck, tells you a lot about the tone of the teaching from the deck, what and how the deck, what the deck has to teach you and how the deck is going to transmit that. And for me, this card, I was like, yes, sign me up, push by. The levers, we've got a little avatar person. The Chariot, look at these, they look kind of like Transformers. I like them, they're kind of balanced and opposite. I love this, I don't know, it's like this crystal dodecahedron kind of chariot. It's also, while it's the chariot and it's that move going forward, you definitely get that take a beat moment energy from this. I think it's great. The Strength card, Strength is usually another one of my favorite cards to look at, and I love this dragon. And I like that she's touching the dragon's face. I think touching faces is a really strong statement. The Hermit. Oh, look at this green hermit. Again, love it, love it. I really like this Wheel of Fortune card too. It's got very traditional imagery here, but just with the, you know, keeping with the story with the different types of beings, but you know, representing the energies from the original. This Justice card with the scales. I think it's interesting, the floating part. The Hanged Man, right? The floating man, I think, really. And man is a little bit up to interpretation in this one, right? So I think that's kind of cool. Death. This is, I'm not quite sure what to do with these people sort of watching this cosmic occurrence here, or is this about to come and envelop them? I don't really know. I haven't read more about this one. It hasn't come up yet. Temperance, I love this balancing of the elements, and the Devil. I actually am intrigued by this Devil card. I do, you know, we've got this devil creature and sort of on top of these energies, but if we look at sort of the bonding, you know, the bondage element here, these leashes, it looks like these people are leashed to a device that they're choosing. So I like that there's an element in here of, for me, I read it as, hey, there's some self-determination here. The energies are on offer, but you're making the choice there. So what are you going to do with that? And then the Tower being struck from space. The Star. I think you could pretty much put that Star card in just about any deck. I do like this little like star dandelion seed that's, hope that's floating around. The moon, we've already talked about the moon, but here it is in bigger, closer view. The portal there. The sun. Oh, this just, yeah. The sun card is, I love the sunflowers. I like this part, but this just gives me Teletubby vibes. Judgment. I love this tree. This, awakening, arising. This, I've said before, don't love angels so much, but this is a cool Judgment, last Judgment card. And then the final one here, the World 42 from Hitchhiker's Guide, Douglas Adams, is that it? To 42, the answer of everything. And we have the, sort of cosmic child, and then the cosmic view of the world and our world. So these are whole worlds anyway. So that is the Galactic Star Tarot. And my final view here is that I love this deck. I'm just gonna kind of edit out the Starseed stuff and enjoy this fun, sweet, super weird, galactic, beautiful deck for me. So what do you think? Is this something that would speak to you? Could you read it without the book? Just looking at that Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, does it seem close to you, or am I just sort of making that up because I want to like it? And anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with me to go through this. And I'd love it if you'd leave me a comment or subscribe or like my video or all of that stuff you say at the end of videos. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.